I decided to do a little tutorial for the Joy to the World pattern from Primrose Cottage. And I wanted to add something a little special to mine. I decided to add some rhinestones using my professional rhinestone tool. And I have these little gems that I used. And you can see how all you do is, when it's heated, press it onto your gem and hold it. And I decided to put some gems right in the center of my stars, just to add a little bling to my project. I was lucky enough to get one of the More Men frames. And then it comes kind of with this little template that you can use to cut out your sticky board, which I thought that was really nice. So I just took that template and put it on top of my sticky board, drew around it, and then cut it out. And then it fits exactly into your frame. Then I just put it over top of my stitch to make sure it was going to be the correct size. And I drew around about 1 inch on each side to give me enough, to wrap around the board when it was done. So I just started on that one side, went up to the top, and the whole way around to get my edging for that. And then I cut around it. And then this is what it looks like when it's done. Took off the sticky board paper. And next I'm going to apply some batting to the back of my sticky board. That just helps give it a little puffiness so it doesn't look so flat, makes it look a little nicer. I just took my scissors and just cut out around the outside of my sticky board. And this is what it looked like when it was done. So then next I took my stitch and made sure it's going to fit on that correctly. And I'm just pulling around all the sides to make sure it's going to be centered. I want to especially pay attention to that top star to make sure that it lines up with the tip of my sticky board. So I'm just checking all the edges to make sure it's lining up. And it looks pretty good. So now the next thing I'm going to do is, I did decide to cut a little more off my edges so I could reduce the bulk because it seemed like there was going to be too much fabric there. And so now I'm going to start working on the corner. And what I did here is just kind of cut into my corner, not the whole way. I left about 1/2 inch that I didn't cut into, and that'll allow me to wrap it around the board a little better. So I'm just cutting in on each of those bottom corners and then leaving about 1/2 inch. So there I am. I'm kind of wrapping it up. And what I'm going to start with first is using some hot glue. I'm going to just hot glue that bottom portion of my stitch. So I'm using my hot glue gun here and just applying some hot glue to the bottom of my stitch across that part where I cut. And I'll show you here in a moment how that looked. And you just want to make sure, turn it over and make sure that, it's not too close to the bottom when you fold it up. So you just kind of double check that and then press it down, make sure it's holding well. And so I did that bottom part, and now I'm going to work on the corners. So here I am in my corner. I'll show you how I did that. I folded that up, kind of bend that one strip over, fold that up, and then bend it over. And then you're just going to hot glue that side down, that short side. And I'll do the same on both sides, and I'll show you what that looks like. So there's my first corner. I guess I did both corners there. You can see how I folded those up. And now I'm going to start out my top. So I'm going to show you how I did that. If you just kind of fold that over on that corner, I'm going to start with that first part of the roof, folding that over. So I'm going to glue along that edge. All right, and then I'll show you how that looks. And now I have my last edge here, and I'll show you how, again, I'm just going to fold that over up at the top, just kind of tuck that point in and fold it over. And then fold that edge over. And then using the hot glue gun again, you want to make sure you get that glued down. The main thing I would say as a tip is to make sure you're pulling your fabric nice and tight as you're gluing it down. so it doesn't look bulky when you're done. And then I'm going to take, this is kind of a tip from Priscilla from Stitching with the Housewives, where she kind of, works on those corners to get them nice and pointed. You just kind of pinch them and work with them to get your corners looking real nice there. And there it is, all finished. I was really pleased with how it turned out. Got all my corners looking nice. And now my next part is getting it into my frame. It fits in there perfectly. I kind of checked that out. It fits in perfectly. I'm going to put some hot glue on it. All around the back. And then it just pops right into that frame. If you use that template that comes with it, you have no problems. And there it is. How beautiful is that? I am very pleased with it. And I'm excited to have it up for Christmas this year. So I hope you found this tutorial helpful. And good luck with completing your project.